Grand Rising, everyone. It's Shay Seeking or Shalonda, and yeah, I'm back. So today, I just wanted to talk. You know, um, Again, I don't know, just being a seer in a sense, right? Trying to be positive and trying to be alert and not falling for that. Mm, I think this is why Source has a lot of us tapping into that masculine energy right now, to respect your other half, to, again, as lords and lordesses, emperors and empresses, to respect each other in a sense, and be able to use when it comes to unity, being able to use that energy in order to combat the invader energies, right? So again, like, okay, so I'm seeing, and I haven't looked too deeply into it because Source is already setting it on my mind, that regardless if it is what it is what is trying to be perceived to see, and perception is everything. So if someone can get something to be perceived, oh look, well, okay, this one got the hint on it, but I don't know. I like this marble that she did on my nails, my nails. But anyway, so we're going to talk about different energies. Now, there's no problem with any of these energies. It's just recognizing as a whole what I'm seeing here. With the whole thing about it's hard because you really have to study those terms that they're using in the media when it comes to Afghan and Taliban. We have a perceived notion as to what we're talking about, but we're really not seeing what those terms actually really mean. So I advise anyone to look them up in etymology and follow those words throughout the test of time, right? And see where to apply them and how they may be being used even today. Because I see it, like, there's just been this energy, man, that, women are really doing that work as to going within and seeking self to get closer to God or Source or the all, which includes nature, the mother and the father. I think men have too, but it might take them a little bit longer to admit that. And the meantime, we have a Jezebel energy that I feel at some point in time was being projected on all, right? And when I think of the Jezebel spirit as a all, I think of it as, again, that energy of women when it comes to, it even makes me think about idolatry, right? When it comes to, I'm just trying to find the right words. Materialism, okay? Even with certain women, and goddesses or whatever, in the past, with jewels and, just materialistic kind of mannerisms, because not just so much as because of those things, it's because those things were used and utilized in order to even romantic gestures that are kind of like that Lauryn Hill song, That Thing is going through my head. But that can be wooed and bent and pliable and, again, maybe let things go because of the jewels and the things of that nature, right? When I think of, we're going to separate it into two categories, that Jezebel energy, right? that energy of luxurious things. There's no problem with that with every single, but we're talking about when it comes to colonization and rebuilding. That's what we're talking about, right? And then you have your what they're talking about when body shaming plus size women or women that might be a little bit more juicy. Because again, now we're seeing that that is really not where, that's like an illusion when it comes to the Jezebel energy if people are centered on that. I'm not saying because you wear those things or you do those things. I'm saying because it's centered on that. Even that whole instance, I saw a meme the other day that said, how can he know the real you if he's never even seen you? And that's the meaning of removing all of those things and just being yourself, right? Certain things that we do to dress ourselves up all the time. We can never, some women are just never themselves. So again, in that sense, that's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes that for me, because I used to never be able to leave the house without makeup, ever. And I had to wonder, what was that? What I could never record a video without makeup. And I thought, what in the heck is that? You know, it's not, because I still do makeup. I still put a wig on. I like big hair. I like, you know what I'm saying? I like to dress up. I like accessories. I like things like that too. You know, but again, like I said, being able to separate that self from self, find self, and then be myself too, you know, was something that I had to kind of go through. But when it comes to that Jezebel energy, and it made me think about like kingdoms and things like that, and just seeing kind of energies today as in the mammy complex, right? With the woman that is more natural. She is the life giver. She is the one that was, you know, the most prominent force, other than whether they were darker hued masters or lighter hued masters. She was the somewhat right hand of those lords, because that's what it was. So we have to be able to see it for what it was and what it is. That's what the overseers and the landlords, it was a lord type of energy. I know they call them master, but master also, we did a video on that, means lord. So so again, she was the one that was the one tied to the land, to the soil. She was the one that they wanted to have all those damn babies, you know what I'm saying, and nourish them, right? And nourish him, right? And keep order in the court or on the grounds, right? Right? So again, I think that society is seeing a resurfacing of that energy, that matriarchal energy, and want to mask that, right? They couldn't turn us all into Jezebel energy. So now they're attacking a little bit of extra weight. Mothers that have dedicated their lives to raising children, no matter if, you know, they didn't do the best, if someone would think that they didn't do the best job they could have or not. That's what they dedicated their lives to, right? Being okay with minimal, making things work, being natural, using natural things as much as possible. And again, nobody does it all the time, right? There's times when it just like a Jezebel energy, is not like they are all anybody that's in that energy when it comes to the outer appearance doesn't mean that they're not true to themselves in their heart. It doesn't mean that they don't love themselves to it doesn't mean that they don't love themselves. I think it's just a different type of love for themselves. I mean, because we can't escape the fact that there is probably a problem. If that's what that's all that you're focused on. So again, they find out that again, there's this other energy here, and they want to call it like a mammy complex, right? And then talk down about that energy and expose that energy and make that energy unattractive, when at the end of the day, we already know what it was. When we look at those old images of, well, I would say Greeks, but If we look at some of these old images, well, yeah, of different cultures, the women were kind of plus size. They did have roles, and they were honored, and they were portrayed, and it was a sense of beauty. It was a big sense of strength, of longevity. It was, looked at in that way. So I think that, again, seeing that some of us are a little bit more grounded in that, there's an energy that is trying to also attack that image, because, again, those are the ones that are going to be the natural healers, the oracles, the shamans. Those are the ones that knew where some of the old lands were that might be getting mined. Those were the mines that they wanted to mine. Somewhat wanted to mine their manners around that type of energy. And it's not anything of being subdued, for men being subdued or subjected. No, it was just out of a sense of respect for her, a sense of love for her. But at the end of the day, he could also be cold to her. Okay? Leave her to handle that and go out and have that type of fun with that other energy. But I think there's a problem when you can be both. When you can be both. A lady in the streets in whatever she wants to be with her a man. And I think in a sense that should not be anything that should be exposed to the public. And when it is, that means there's an energy to try to even cut that energy down. And I think, fortunately, we have some men that are in that emperor energy, or coming into, right, that are kind of seeing it for what it is, right? I mean, even with that whole male complex of, hanging with friends and stuff like that instead of with your woman. But usually that ends up hanging with friends and then finding women, and then again in that Jezebel energy. And it's not even that the woman has to be in a Jezebel energy. It's just that type of outer appearance might be, preferred. But again, when you can be both, you can dress down and then dress up when you really need to. Is a little bit more appreciated, I feel. When you can speak one way, in an authoritative way, right? But then you can also be, again, in that submissive energy. I think that that is a good balance. Again, these are just my opinions. This is just the way I see things. And I think it's just really getting on me, because I feel this energy of shutting women down with most male energies and most religious aspects. And that is something to really be looked at, because, again, it's turning this whole thing about divine masculine and feminine. It can be turning also the women against those particular empress energies, right? That are the ones that are think tanks, that are the ones that are trying to protect their rights. So again, we think about a lot of these empresses that we talk about, in queens and goddesses that we talk about on this channel, they were for women's rights or protecting women's chastity. They were of that energy. But again, a lot of times they got hung out to dry because of jealousy, envious energies, and also energies of those who also had those particular powers and wanted that power that she had. They looked at her as in an envious manner, right? And it's something she couldn't help. It was something she was born with. It's something that is a trait. It's something that is the reason why she was in the position that she was in. She had to go through certain trials and tribulations that they didn't have to go through. that some people wouldn't even never understand that you had to go through, right? So, and it's not to say anybody is better than anybody or anything, because those women also, like I said, they may have been in their energy. They may have been getting hate from that energy and the male aspect. But at the same time, they still stood their ground and they still was right and what was true. I apologize. I don't know what happened to the lighting. Oi. Hey. Okay. Why is this acting like this? Okay. I guess I'll have to sit all awkward like this. But anyway, so again, if you can dismiss that type of energy, right? And if you can try to tarnish that kind of energy, then again, there's a problem, because we don't only have to work. I know they're giving you the image of the Taliban and saying about the face coverings and stuff like that, but we also know that is. And we also know that you can get that energy from any religious group, again, here in the Americas. A lot of it also is because, again, they see that, okay, these women are coming into their power and their full potential. And they're seeing that these women can also do this on their own. So again, it will be a point where you can be put in danger as a whole. Your children and things can be put in danger with these type of energies, because they want to show you and teach you a lesson, right? And show you who's in charge, right? If you are too much into your way. So again, it's either they will have the pull and the power in society. So it's either that way or the highway. Right? To show you, I can definitely silence you, right? I can definitely pull the plug, right? I can pull the trigger. I can do these things. And we have to also recall that when it comes to some of these things, we have love and war. And those women, again, that will be in those positions, in those matriarchal positions, also had lots of people court them, you know? Lots of people court them. And I'll never remember that feeling of having this guy from school. I think when I was like 12 years old, you know, like I said, being a tomboy, but also being that girl that kind of was developed at a certain age, and having guys, you know, follow you around or follow you home, or always picking at you and wanting to fight with you and things like that. And then, you know, lying like they kissed you or did something like behind the bleachers, and you're thinking like, what in the world? Like, no, you know, for whatever reasons, to make other guys not want to talk to you, whatever it is. Men have tactics too. Like, we have our tactics, women, but men have theirs too, as to what it is, especially if they find themselves in a position where they may be attracted to someone that is not necessarily what they would usually be attracted to. And if they are, they would not want to be having that in the public because of the way that someone looks. And so those women are put under the radar because actually they don't want anybody else talking to you. They don't want you like that. They'd rather have that other piece, but they don't want anybody else to have. So those women, I feel and I know and I see now, had a very hard time. And it's like, then you can't be real with yourself. So what I'm saying about that, when I say that, when I see this, that women are dealing with ourselves in a certain, and it's probably, that's just what's natural. It's always what's natural with development of the mind and the brain of children. So again, and sometimes it takes that energy of that male that is in touch or in tune. And so that's why I think that, yes, it has to do with a certain couple, and they are both going to be targeted heavily. It has to do with that main. Yes, there's going to be different mounts. There's different pyramids, mounts, or different collectives, or different Yeah, right? But there's only one true Holy One. There's only one true Empress. And then there's other collective communities around. And she has to hold it down on many levels. So it's easy for people to peer in and see things one way and don't even realize and recognize what's going on. And she's dealing with her consorts. In their ways and still remaining in that energy. A lot of times I feel like with these women, because they see something in him, that is different. And I think that when it came to those matriarchal societies being swapped over or switched over, it's very important to make sure that that is the case. Because in case there is an overthrow, at least you know you have a honorable, fair, balanced, and emperor there that is going to be able to protect her and to look at other women and children in that same light, in the same way or manner. Because if a group is not protecting their women and children, or have envy, anger, strife, or jealousy, because again, they may have been given a perception that this male energy that would come to throw things up and shake things up would be a male energy, and we're going to be surprised that it probably isn't. It may be a woman in that energy, and she may have had to be built that way to be more in her masculine energy, because those things can't happen again. So she can't even freely just be okay with being, because there's always a sense of some type of plot twist or something behind the scenes that's going on. But again, she would have to be that rock, or that ride or die for him as well. And she's more focused on that in the kingdom's well-being and truth and justice and bringing order to the court than any of those other things that are materialistic or driven to get riches for all of those other things. And so then he would have they would have a kingdom, right? That would be very rich. Even though people may look in and think that it is poor. But I just look at things from the outside and go in closer to them. And I do feel that, again, nobody's saying that this is going to happen. Hopefully, again, we can see these things. That's what a seer is, to see these things and point them out and bring them forth in order for us to identify and maybe rectify. Y'all, I just woke up, like for real. I ain't do nothing but come out here and pull out the camera because it just was on my mind. I had a couple of dreams that were just, I don't know. And I can't even remember the whole one about this serpent. And it was just everywhere. And I would just pick it up and try to, you know, throw it out or whatever. At first I was afraid of it, but I tried to put it out and it just would just disappear and slip out of my hands. But I mean, I guess I was proud of myself for being able to even pick it up and try to straighten it out or get rid of it. But I mean, I think it ended up on the ceiling fan. I don't even know. It was just one of those dreams. You know? So it's hard. Especially when you know, again, that there are serpents around. But again, they can also even mimic that of the divine. And worried about the serpents in the garden, but there was also other entities and energies in the garden to pay attention to. And you can learn from them, but they also learned and studied you as well. So all you can do is just hope that, again, it's all for the better. But I do feel it. I feel this. It doesn't matter. Like, and that's what I'm saying. I can't be like everybody else. I have to be myself, right? And I do feel that energy. I feel that somebody is trying to project that energy or portray something in that light, which all you have to do is have that perception for it to the thing don't even have to really matter. I mean, it don't have to really happen. The only thing that needs to be planted is the perception of it. That's dangerous. It's detrimental. It's detrimental. So I wasn't even going to talk about the whole body shaming, mammy energy that's been talked about. But I think it's very important. And again, us using our gifts, that is a big problem. When the gifts are being used and is utilized in order for the invaders to use them for themselves and their upbringing, it's okay. But when it's used to heal and when it's used to, again, to give insight to, again, you or yours, right? It's a problem. It's a problem. And so again, if that's a problem, then what we have to do is throw salt in the game. We need to have these people fighting over each other. We need to be arguing about what's happening over here. It's confusion. It's confusion. Nobody's actually servicing or serving the emperor and empress. They're also self-serving and indulging and also serving with other energies from other communities or other collective energies. And so there's chaos. Things are coming into this kingdom that shouldn't be in there and should be, so again, we're just talking about the energy frequencies and vibrations, the currency of our current situation in the spiritual realm or within these different dimensions and then the fabrics of it all. So it's very dangerous when you have, especially these religious groups, especially some of them in our community that want to benefit off of polygamy and such for whatever reasons, for their reasons, not even really for the collective, not even for really the betterment. It's because of what, again, they're enjoying about those aspects of it, which has more women in a situation where they'll probably be battered and abused mentally and physically than anything else. But they have a lot of strength in numbers, in presence. And so I think some of these groups watch and stalk and plot and plan to use their weight in order to push forth something. And they always want to push forth that Jezebel. There can't be other women. No, there can't be other energies of women. There is always a Jezebel energy when it comes to the way that they speak about women. So when it comes to any kind of religious aspect like that, or any kind of cultish energy, it's time. Like I said, it's been time to come out. Come out of her means a lot more than just one thing. And since we're talking about her, it's still in that energy, I feel, of an idolatrous energy, a false energy. Instead of giving that love and nourishment to each other, you and I and we have been giving it to institutions. Is what we've been doing. We've been giving that energy to the very principalities and things that we are complaining about. Right? But I feel as that's changing with entrepreneurship and branding of other individuals within the community. That's changing. I think people aren't even really thinking about like it in that light where they have to have this latest. I mean, I don't know what people are doing. What I'm saying is I see a change. I see a change of supporting each other in the community. I mean, all these things are slowly happening. They're slowly happening, which is a beautiful thing to me. It's slowly happening. If I can even speak something into existence that will help a million people. And see, I think people get caught up in looking at you and your life and seeing what you're doing and saying, well, that person didn't do this. It doesn't matter. If somebody's giving you the keys, take them. If somebody's giving you the keys, take them. And I think like sometimes there's this energy of like, some of us are here to set some things up. We may not be able to stay, however you want to take that. But we're here to give you the jewels. So what our life looks like is not going to be the same as what somebody else's does. What we're supposed to be doing is not what other people are supposed to be doing. Could be. Some people can do a lot more. Some people can multitask in that way. And some of us are just vessels of light at this moment. And we're here to give little pieces to you. And you, like I said, and so that's not even to put anybody in any kind of category, because you and people are also teaching us. It's a give and take. It has no color lines or anything of that nature. It just is what it is. It's about finding your piece and playing that part and letting other people do the same thing. We do a lot of shaming and cutting down and things like that. And I think that, again, if we focused on the problems and then the positive things to fix them, then, well, I don't know. Starting with ourselves. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to some of these cults and things like this, they're not even themselves. They have a perception of something and it's not even possibly what they have a perception. And so, and a lot of times they're holding on to it because of something that they're utilizing or gaining, sometimes not in the best manner, is why they're actually holding on to that thing. I think when it comes to, again, other cultures, they're promised wives and they're promised all these things like this. And I think it's after they die, but are we talking about a physical death? Or are we talking about legalities? Are we talking about leaving your mother and father to cleave to your wife, and then you get 5 wives when you go there, right? And you're living in that sense of death. And then where are you going to get these women from? Possibly the places where they're going to be sent to colonize, conquer, or claim. So anyways, let's do this real quick. Let's look at some of these cards that we pulled. So again, this is why some of these things are made to look evil. This is why they don't want you really, dealing with this type of thing. Because the way I do it is just out of love. It's about finding the truth and tapping into that, using the whole universe in order to achieve that. The all would not allow us to tap into these things and actually see changes and have support, right? If it were so evil. So again, we have healing journey. These are some of the cards that I pulled this morning when I was sitting here just meditating on that type of energy and why am I seeing that. Hopefully you can see these. The lighting is not even really good right now. Okay, healing journey, and we have the masculine and the feminine energy here. She has all her little dots already on her body, and she's sharing them, she's giving them, she's extending them over into his heart, right? Almost like that energy is coming up from the ground. Deep listening, reading between the lines and headlines. Seeing that perception is everything. So again, maybe we should be really sifting through all of these energies to see what they're talking about. Because again, we've given up so much when it comes to your so-called rights out of fear. Internal strength, again, almost like that. It's almost like the world card, the way that those bubbles are wrapping around her body, right? And then she's either pouring them in to her mouth, or again, it can be perceived as coming out. Sacred knowledge. Everything is not going to be found in a book, right? But there's that guiding light. You see all those staffs there? And then the bubbles that we are seeing on those feminine energies that are on the bottom of them, like it has something to do with the roots or the offspring. And then it's all tied together in unity. See and it's all about that guiding light right there that we can all see. We can all see. There's different aspects to it, right? But we know better, and that's the thing. We just know better. Preparation. So again, there is that energy of preparation, whether it's prepping with food or whatever it would be for something. And look, the women and children, and almost it's like these things are wrapped around the women and children like a chain, almost like a ball and chain, actually. I know I heard just a glimpse of something with someone taking somebody's child, right? So again, when you're sitting there snickering and laughing and putting these plans and plotting against women and things like that, one day it can be yours. One day it can be yours. Dreaming. And I think in a sense, sometimes it's different when people do have children or can have children. It's a different way of being. where you wouldn't even dare think that way. So again, that dreaming aspect, dreams are definitely kicking in now. I don't know about for you. You see how she's in that, I wouldn't call it a lotus flower, but okay, and got her arms stretched out there. Sorrow. And men, and that's why men think that because, I talk like this, it's just to bring awareness. You know what I'm saying? From what I can tell, ain't nobody paying attention anyway. It's just to bring awareness to this. We can't be, ain't no sidestepping here. Even if we're talking about it not even having anything to do with the women, just the children. That's a problem for me. That's a problem for me. And see, a lot of people, it's sad because even when you're someone that is really in tune and you have a lot of weight on your shoulders, it's hard. I know it's hard. Emotional exhaustion. It's hard to keep up with yourself, whatever you got going on in this dimension, whatever you got going on in that dimension, whatever you got going on in your mental. So again, that's another way to play on the part of mental illness. That's another popular thing that people been talking about a lot. And I'm trying to tell you what it is. It's to discredit certain people that are here. Emotional exhaustion. And that's why sisterhood should not be dead right now. And support should not be. There's no time for that at this point in time. Inner quiet, taking that time. And if someone gets offended by you taking that time, I don't know what to say. But I take this time. I take this time. And I have faith that the ancestors, angels, and guides, right? Even if nobody else want to. I don't know why Pac just came to mind. But even if anybody else doesn't, his song, Dear Mama, I think. Even if nobody else wants to, you make sure you do. And I try to make, like I said, that I'm going to be all right when it comes to what I need. But I feel like even in that energy, that's another way where, again, masculine males can get away with some things when it comes to that, like the image we just saw with the ball and chain. If a woman is, so I do see it, what I'm saying, with the society today, I do see the need, right, of being able to be self-sufficient in that sense, or even being able to be, take care of yourself. It just feels like I wish that communities, right, were a little bit more, let's hurry up because they about to be cutting the grass. A little bit more, not when it comes to what we think charity is. Okay, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what nobody say. Some of the charity that we involved in today is just fronting. It's just put up to make it seem like somebody care. It's not for the longevity. It's not for putting anybody up where they're going to be able to be taken care of or be able to then tap into themselves or teach them how to do something on their own. When it comes to charity, when it comes to anything that's coming from some of these God-bringing forces, it was to keep people in those situations, period. And in order to fix it, it had to be rebuilt and redone with some kind of strategy that's going to have those people being able to have a leg up when they're done. Same thing when it comes to marriage. And when it comes, because I used to look at it a different way, like, hey, I'm just gone, But at the end of the day, no, well, it was built together. We had a plan, and you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You wouldn't have all that if it wasn't for us. So now I see a little bit why why there's a such thing as what is it, alimony, to a certain extent now. Okay, because there's a lot of women that can't go right now. They can't do something, and again, it's usually those particular women that are the ones that are overlooked. While again, the one woman in the Jezebel energy will be again having it all at the end, all at the end. But again, when you're dealing with that divine masculine and feminine, the rebuild would be ridiculous, right? If they're both now learned from the things that they've been through and the things that they've gone through and done to each other unknowingly and knowingly. Again, ain't no stopping you now. And sometimes all you need is each other. Insightful revelations. Okay? So again, I hope you guys enjoyed that message. And I will see you guys soon. Again, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to join us in the Facebook group American Aborigines Unchained for more information or alternative information, past, present, and future. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care.